Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the meeting of the El Centro City Council for Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cardenas-Singh,
Present.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Oliva,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Present.
Mayor Marroquin.
Present. Alrighty. And please stand, and we will be led by in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Cardenas-Singh.
Thank you, everyone. Please, if you could place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing for the invocation by Councilmember Carter.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you simply saying thank you. We want you to bless everybody that's here, Lord. We want you just to bless the elections and everybody who is out there at the polls, the people who are the candidates. We ask you just to put your hands, favors on them right now. And we ask you just to go throughout the Imperial Valley, Lord, and bless everybody. Bless our children, Lord. Just put a special blessing on them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Madam City Attorney, any report on closed session?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At this time, there is no reportable action from the closed session.
And at this time, we move on to public comments. This is a public meeting. If there is an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you are asked to complete a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. When the item is announced and your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. If you wish to address concerning any other matter not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment portion of the agenda. However, you may not show a visual presentation without review of that material. If you do so, you will be considered out of order. And we do have one speaker slip, and that request is by Mr. Guillermo Hernandez.
Madam Mayor. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, esteemed members of the El Centro City Council, and distinguished guests. It's a deep sense of honor and commitment that I reintroduce myself to you tonight as a district representative for Senator Steve Padilla in the 18th Senate District. Our paths have crossed in various capacities over the years. Thank you, sir. And each interaction has solidified my admiration for this council's dedication to the welfare of the city of El Centro. It is with privilege to continue our collaborative efforts, now with the support and resources of Senator Padilla's office at our disposal. Our past collaborations have laid a strong foundation for a continued partnership, and I'm here to assure you that my role is to be an accessible, proactive liaison between the city of El Centro and our office, Senator Padilla's office. We're dedicated to addressing local concerns, championing state-level support, and spearheading initiatives that will enhance our community's quality of life. I invite you to view my role not just as a representative, but as a resource and an ally. In closing, I extend my sincerest gratitude for the opportunity to serve in this new capacity. I look forward to our continued partnership. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And now, so the city council has the honor to make a couple of presentations. Okay, first, we would like to recognize the Central Union High School cheerleading team for winning the 2023-2024 CIF San Diego Championship in the co-ed non-tumbling division. Congratulations on your well-deserved success. And I would like to invite Mr. Joshua Weiss to come up and introduce your team.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Council, for inviting us all here today. My name is Joshua Wise, and I am the Central Union High School Athletic Director. I am proud to be recognizing the young males and female student athletes from our varsity co-ed non-tumbling division cheer team this evening. This cheer team is hands down the hardest working and most dedicated group I have ever been around, and their accomplishments prove this. I really say that this cheer program and these girls arguably work harder than anybody on that campus. I'm putting them out there with the football team. They might be putting in more time than the football team. I'm not kidding. And I think that the accomplishments that they set out this year, that the goals that they achieved, it proves it. So I do want to recognize once again what those goals were and were those accomplishments, which was a CIF San Diego section championship. I want to give them applause for that one. They were also the CIF Southern California Regional State Champions. Now, they almost had the trifecta, but they did come a little short, but we're still absolutely proud of them. And they came third in the nation at the USA Spirit Nationals. Now, we don't have enough time to recognize every single girl, but I do want to recognize the captains and the coaches. That's Soraya Rodriguez, if you want to please stand and rise. Is she here? Jocelyn Alagwe, not here as well. Natalie Ruiz. Alyssa Herman. And Rihanna Nava Esparza. Next, I would like to recognize our head coach, Gabby Robb. And I'm not sure if her assistants are here, Juan Sanchez and Yesenia Hernandez. So now we appreciate the coaches, the parents, and the entire school community for their continued support of our cheer student athletes. And I just want to leave the rest of this ceremony for you to say that this is to the seniors. I hope that every single one of you can use this momentum you currently have and apply these skills to your everyday life after you graduate from high school, okay? So the way you guys work, the hard work that you're able to do and you know you're able to do, apply it beyond this and go get a big girl job, a big boy job, and go make a lot of money and be a leader in our community, okay? Did we want to invite them up for a photo, or do we need to move forward?
Let me go through.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
And then we'll invite them up for a photo.
Got it.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Weiss. Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations. I am so proud when we think of El Centro and putting us on the map. And it comes with a lot of hard work and dedication. When I hear that we're being recognized at the national level, the caliber of the students that we have here in Imperial County is phenomenal. Thank you so much for representing us so well, and congratulations on your hard work. Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations to you all, specifically because, as your athletic director said, you're putting in the time and the effort, you're practicing, you're working together, you're bonding. And I think the most important part of all of this is just to never forget how much your hard work results into what you're striving for. And that goes in everything in your life, in your job, in your schoolwork, your relationships, right? In the future, your families that you'll have, just put in the work and exercise and be better, constantly challenge yourselves. And I think that ultimately is the takeaway that I hope that you all see is the reason why you're here and we're recognizing you is that hard work that you're not shying away from. And I do want to ask one question because maybe the athletic director, what is a non-tumbling division?
I want that.
Because I really do want to know. I don't know these things, right? And so I just want to know a little bit more. So I'm assuming that there might be another person in this room that doesn't know what that means.
So
they're not doing any flipping. So they're not tumbling, which means the caliber of stunting needs to be more elite. So yeah, they push harder in their stunts than they do, since they have to make up for it since they're not tumbling.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, see, even more reason to be impressed. So congratulations once again.
Too bad we don't have the space in here for a demonstration.
Right.
Ms. Councilmember Carter?
I want to say congratulations. As I followed your success story, because I was on it. I was reading to see what was next. I was following it. I just want to say every time I followed your success story, I would get the chills because I would just visualize the sky is the limit. Keep pushing. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop and encourage others. Don't stay there and take somebody with you. Always encourage somebody else to build themselves. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations, Spartans. And congratulations to all of your supportive parents. It is something unique to be able to dedicate yourself at a high level to your academics and still participate in a sport at an elite level. So that's something that nobody can ever take from you. That hard work, that determination, the grit that you had to show in order to excel at that level. And that's something that'll hold you over for a long time and something you will never forget and something that you can feed off of going into the future. Remember, you've already accomplished so much that when you have strife, when you have trouble, when you reach other levels of academics and athletics, remember you've done this before and you can do it. And we're so very, very proud of you.
And ladies, I would just like to say how proud we are of you. You know, there are 4 Centro Union High School graduates sitting up here. And, you know, I have to say that, and I'm sure that there's quite a few more in the audience, but, you know, and I live practically across the street from Central. And so I see all the commotion that goes on out there, but I just want to say that, again, how proud we are of you. And, you know, something that your athletic director, Mr. Weiss, said resonated with me, because all the teamwork, the collaboration, you know, all of that stems and carries on into your life in the future, in your job, you know, because, you know, as leaders up here, we too, you know, are a team. We collaborate to make those important decisions. And those are things that you will also have to do in the workplace. And maybe someday, some of you will be up here, you know, so that would be nice to see, you know, because I think it is important also to give back to your community. And, you know, this is one way of doing that, is by serving your community as a council member to make those important decisions and to be that leader in the community. So, you know, keep up the good work. And we hope to see more accomplishments from all of you in the future. How many seniors are there in the group? Is it most? 4? Oh, great. So you're going to keep going, you know, so yeah, so opportunity for more achievements. Yes. Well, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so now I'd like to invite the team to come up and take a picture.
Amelia.
Oh, there he is. He's got it. He's got it.
I think they
almost
probably
feel
had a
like
lot of practice
feel like I need to
after your
come here.
competitions, you know, so.
We might.
Are
Should we shift?
I know, that's what I was thinking. Should we shift or
This way?
is that? Oh, yeah,
We have
we
the
can see
logo?
ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can see ourselves.
Okay, here we go.
And here you go.
Why wasn't the athletics?
I know, why are you not in the picture, Mr. Wise?
Let them have a moment.
Alrighty, and so we'd like to present to you the certificate of recognition, for your accomplishments and your achievements. And so now I'd like to invite Mr. Joshua Weiss up again to introduce the soccer team.
I need to go get them.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, all
You
right.
gotta go get them.
How exciting.
How you doing, bro? I saw that. Yeah.
Right.
Lloviendo.
So it keeps popping up on my screen. I just keep pushing it. Later. Later.
Yeah.
It kicks me out or something.
No, it won't.
It won't? Later. Okay.
I'm noticing all the soccer team letterman. Wasn't that?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It'd be 750 degrees and still. I wear it year round. Me too.
Oh my God, they're cheering out there.
The demonstration could have been.
I know, the demonstration is happening now in the courtyard. Wow.
You're busy tonight, Mr. Wise. You are busy.
Do you want to introduce them or you want me to?
Let me read, so good evening, everybody. I know that you've been waiting outside for this moment, but we are here and you are here because we'd like to recognize the Centro High School girls varsity soccer team. Congratulations on being the runner-up in the 2023-24 CIF San Diego Section Division III Championship. Your hard work and determination has truly paid off. So now I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Weiss so that he can then introduce you and say a few kind words.
Thank you. So on behalf of Central Union High School, I would like to thank the city of El Centro for honoring our sports programs and the goals that we did accomplish this season. Next, I'm proud to announce our varsity girls soccer team this evening. I've been watching these senior student athletes since they were freshmen on our campus, and I can't express to you how competitive they really are, from playing multiple sports on our campus and being year-round soccer players on club teams. I truly feel that this girls soccer program's right up there with the best programs in the entire Peel Valley. I mean, I hate to root for like our football team, which I think you know how much success they're having, but they're right up there with the Imperial girls basketball team. Like these girls are the staple of the Imperial Valley. Like when you talk girls soccer, you talk about Central, they come first. Okay. And then when I say these girls play multiple sports, I really feel it's the skills that they've learned from the coaches growing up and the coaches that they currently have now, where some of these girls play volleyball and some of these girls play girls flag football. And I feel it's everything that they've gotten from soccer has stemmed to them having success in these other sports. And I appreciate them so much for trying to be a part of that Central culture year round, where they're doing multiple things while maintaining great GPAs. I mean, our girls soccer program is up there with some of the highest 3.0s, 4.0s. These girls are doing that right now. And while practicing every night and playing games almost year round. They kick butt. So with that being said, these girls are amazing, and I'd like to share with you the accomplishments that they had this season. So their overall record this season, they had 19 wins, 5 losses, and 2 ties. Okay, so that deserves a round of applause on its own. In the Imperial Valley League, which consists of Calexico and Imperial and all the local schools, they didn't lose to any teams this year. Their overall record was 7 wins and 1 loss. So,
Wow.
oh, I'm sorry, not a loss. 7 wins and 1 tie.
Oh, a
Oh,
tie.
man.
Whoa, that makes a difference.
And in that tie, they won in penalty kicks, right? So they won that one too. So with all the accomplishments, they received the 3rd seed in the CIF Division III playoffs, which that's a very competitive division to be in. And with that 3rd seed, they were also given a first round bye, which that's another accomplishment that as everyone else is playing win or go home, they're just sitting there in the driver's seat, just waiting to play the next competition. So another round of applause on the first round bye. So in the quarterfinals, they beat Fort Hills Christian 2-1. After that, they had to go play El Capitan High School in the semifinals. And I want to bring up the game against El Capitan because these girls, they just showed a lot of, charisma, and these ladies just never gave up. The final score of that game, if I'm not mistaken, might have been 4-4. And they went to penalty kicks. But the one thing so they went to penalty kicks and they won. But the one thing a lot of people don't know is that these girls had lost to El Capitan in December, and they lost 6-2. So these girls, going into the game, they could have easily laid over and just said, El Capitan, you kicked our butts the first time. Here it is. But they didn't. They came back and they played their hearts out, and they earned a berth to the CIF championship.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, and we didn't get the final goal, which was a CIF championship, but they did take on Rancho Buena Vista, which is a huge high school up in North County, and they ended up losing 1-0 in the CIF championship. But I tell you what, these girls are they're amazing, and they never gave up. 1-0. They battled, and these girls are battle tested. And I know we're gonna lose a decent group of seniors, but it's the same pitch that what I'm gonna say that I said for the cheerleaders, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. Is that to the seniors? I hope that every single one of you can use this momentum you currently have and apply these skills to your everyday life after you graduate from high school, right? You guys are year-round student athletes, and we hope that you continue to do something great with your life after high school, whether it's go to college, be a nurse, whatever it is. We just want you to have success when you do it. And then hopefully, you guys are back here dedicating your time to our soccer programs or whatever sports you're doing, or just being involved in the community and being leaders in our community. And I applaud you on such a great season. Now, with that being said, I do want to recognize the coaches who's put all this time in. Our head coach is Francisco Pancho Lopez. Now, his assistant coach, I'm not sure if she's here, Vianney Lopez. She's not here. And our JV coach, who's also assists with the varsity, is Eric Ramirez. And lastly, I do want to just, I can't take my hat off, but to the parents, because
Yes.
as you know, it can't be done without them. It takes takes a whole lot, from making sure that these girls are there on time and being dedicated to the program, and probably hearing all the frustrations that are coming from the game. And, they're part of this, and they deserve this as much as these girls. And the whole Central Union High School community, we thank you for taking us on this ride and this journey. Thank you, guys.
So I'd like to invite my colleagues to say a few words.
Sure. I just have a quick question. Good evening. How many of you started in our youth programs here with the city, our youth soccer teams?
Oh, my gosh.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's really important because as council members, we're very dedicated to making sure that we provide spaces and that we have fields that can develop that sport. And this is the best part of our job when we see that someone has benefited from our city programs and then has been able to move on and where you rank now at a high school level. So congratulations to you. So proud that you represent us so well, that you put the city of El Centro, Central Union High School, on the map. Congratulations. And what he was talking about was grit. You can't teach it. It comes from deep inside, and that grit is what you're going to need for the rest of your life when you move on, and whether that's for college or career that you choose for yourself. And as you continue that grit, I hope it still continues and it's still on fire in whatever you look forward to becoming in your career. So congratulations. Thank you so much. Parents, amazing. The time and the effort that it takes to make sure that your daughter makes sure that she is able to attend all of her training sessions. I know that it's a true inspiration and lots of love that we invest in our children. So thank you, parents, for the great work. Coaches, thank you so much. Those life skills are for a lifetime. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ladies, I just want to say congratulations. I'm sure that you all have your own personal stories and the videos that you play in your mind as to like what you were able to accomplish and the things you were able to overcome throughout this season, right? And I think that what I took away from the story that your athletic director was saying is that when you hear about a team that is about to face another team that they have already lost to, and you show up and you say, bring it. And you're going to not only rewrite the story, but you're going to now win and you're going to beat them, right? Like that's huge, right? And when you're coming up to the finals and you're at 1-0, but you don't give up and you keep going, what he's describing is perseverance, right? And that are things that is going to drive you throughout your life. And what my colleagues are going to be describing, or what have been described, is that don't forget that. Don't forget that feeling of showing up to something and whether all the odds are against you, you're still going to give your best. And take these memories of working with each other as being like great memories throughout your life, and take one last moment, because we are very proud of you. And as a council member and as an alumnus from Central, I am very proud of you and your accomplishments. But I want to take one moment for you to just turn around and look at all of the adults that are lining around this room and just think about how they are very proud of you too. And they're sacrificing a lot to make sure that you're going to achieve your dreams. And this is just one, right? There's going to be next year, there's going to be your graduation, there's going to be your first job, there's going to be getting into college, there's going to be so many. Those are the folks that are going to be there with you. So remember to appreciate them and to say thank you. And again, congratulations on your achievement.
I would like to say congratulations. I had the honor, I work at a school and I was walking down the hallway and I was delivering material and I heard the news, your news being broadcasted in a classroom. So I walked in and he was playing it for all of his students, and one of your sisters is in the classroom. And he was playing it and he said, she was like, yeah, my sister's right there. And so I said, okay. He says, oh, I'm gonna rewind it so you can see it. So he rewinded it so I can see it. And I stood there and I watched it and wow, I am so amazed. And what caught my attention the most is the lady, I don't know which one of you were speaking at the time, but you said, I give honor to God. And that touched me because all of you were praying after that. I seen that on there too. And I was like, oh, wow. So I want you to always remember, with God being for you, who can be against you? Keep pushing.
First of all, congratulations to all the parents in the room. It's great to see you all here supporting your lovely daughters and this wonderful team. And I know how difficult it is. I have three boys myself. I know what it's like to take them to practice and all the hard work that goes in there, getting them on time and making sure they're all ready. And, but watching them progress and getting to this level, this is what it's about. And congratulations to the coaches for giving them all of the support and training that they needed to excel and persevere. And congratulations to all of you for accomplishing something that you really will never forget. And it's just wonderful to see you all here representing your school, representing your colors. And I know how difficult it is to be a student athlete. It takes a lot of time balancing out your homework, balancing out your other extracurriculars, balancing out your other sports, and then to still achieve this high level of success. There's a reason why everybody's proud of you, including myself. So keep working at it. Make sure that you never lose that grit, that perseverance, fighting in the face of adversity, like your athletic director told us about that story with that team. It's not about losing. It's about coming back and beating them when it counts. And that's what you guys did. So congratulations to all of you. And like everybody in the room, we're all just so very proud of you.
Well, that doesn't leave much for me to say because I think my colleagues said it all. But I just, as I was listening to Mr. Weiss talk about the games that you had, now talk about redemption with El Capitan. That must have been one heck of a game. Your parents must have been sitting there biting their nails, so that must have been really exciting. But, just to say how proud we all are of you. There are 4 Central graduates sitting up here. And so we hope that, so, it's, you make us proud. You've put El Centro on the map. Who would ever think that this little town or city out in the middle of the desert would accomplish so much, but you have. And for that, we just want to commend you for your achievements. Keep up the great work. Congratulations to those that are graduating. And hopefully, the coaches and the parents will then now start to work with the upcoming, juniors, sophomores, so that they can then carry on the achievements that this team has accomplished. So on that note, I would like to present to you a certificate of recognition and invite you to come up and take a picture with us. Coaches, would you like to join? Pardon? Yes, stand right here, right along here. You may have to do a double row.
Whoa, go girls. Yes.
Emilio, can you put the microphone?
Where are we?
Oh my God, is it this way? Is it that way? Okay.
Here we go.
Paparazzi. Paparazzi.
Click, 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 click.
I know. Pretty cool. What phones can do nowadays.
One more.
How exciting. Yes.
How exciting.
Ah.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for your presentation.
How exciting.
Thank you for the opportunity to been able to provide.
All good? All good?
There you are. I was wondering.
I think I'm gonna take this right now. Record some of my stuff somewhere and let them.
Wow. You sure emptied out the chamber, huh? All right, colleagues, so now we move on to the consent agenda, items number 3 through 8. Does anyone have any questions or requesting? And so now I call for a motion. It was moved by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia and seconded by Councilmember Cardenas Singh, and that has been adopted 5-0. All right. Okay, so on to new business. Item number 9, discussion and any necessary action regarding the adoption of the updated sanitary sewer management plan, and a presentation by Mr. Abraham Campos, our Public Works Director, City Engineer.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. What a tough act to follow. Geez, that was incredible. So here we have before you a plan that's been a few years in the making, and after a friendly reminder by our city attorney with an email saying, hey, you know, Abraham, you might want to take a look at this. We started looking at this, of course, and it changes how, or modifies or updates how we conduct our business as it relates to the management of our collection system, of our sewer systems, very vital, obviously, piece of our infrastructure. I won't take too much time to go through it because we're fortunate to have a great consultant, Elizabeth Kaliba, who will be running through the program and how it relates in terms of the state requirements and how we implement it here in the city of El Centro. So if Elizabeth, if you're available on the line right now, if you want to jump in and take it over. We cannot hear you right now.
Having technical difficulties? Or?
We can see you, but cannot hear you.
Mhm.
Right. So while we sort that out,
Is it on our end by any chance?
No, it's on the end.
Like the system recognizes her because it's got the little square around.
but the audio is not good. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. If not, if we can get the audio, I can
We can
improvise.
probably pull it up and go through it if you'd like.
She can call in if she likes.
Call in.
Through the phone, it'll pick it up.
All right, she's gonna be doing
she
that right
heard
now.
you.
Yeah. She heard that.
Uh-huh.
Now she's muted. Yeah.
I wonder if she signs back in.
I think,
Do you have a hard copy of agenda items?
I think she's calling in.
We can go through it. It's pretty simple.
In the meantime, Elizabeth, when you jump in, let us know. I'll get started really quick on the different modules. And to introduce as well, we have David Gracia, our wastewater treatment supervisor, will be leading this effort. So the program in itself has 11 different parts. And I'm sure everybody went through it very detailed.
That was extensive,
But just a
Abraham.
refresher, we'll go through some of the elements. It's a very lengthy document. And In short, it establishes or an organization chart for the city of Centro as it relates for maintaining our sewers. Implements a camera system, a program where we're reviewing and inspecting the sewer mains or manholes, make sure they're up to par. It establishes a monitoring program and reporting program for spills. The whole goal of this program is to try to prevent spills, try to prevent sinkholes, which we've experienced here, by having a more proactive approach on how we inspect the systems through our department. It establishes a flow chart, a chain of command per se, if you want to call it, on what we do should we find a spill. How do we inspect it? Who in public works specifically is responsible for inspecting and reporting? How do we report it? How do we report to the state at the different levels depending on the size of a sewer spill? The whole idea of this is to prevent a sewer spill. But in case there is one, how do we go and handle the procedure? So for public works, it starts with our wastewater treatment plant and is delegated to our streets and utility supervisor for the maintenance. So coming out of this or stemming out of this will be additional programs and requirements, including a CIP program that will be developed as part of the sewer master plan. Different elements will come in out of that. And new projects. We're probably going to be looking at staffing requirements to be able to comply with the program. This is a state mandated program update that we're doing right now. So as part of the budget, we'll be looking at Carla, and we'll see how that goes on our finance department for budget purposes in terms of staffing. We're doing some, it has already had a positive effect on how we're doing our business and trying to be more proactive as we maintain our sewer system. With that, I don't think you'll be able to join us. Unfortunately, I know we were having some audio issues here. I'm not sure if it's on our end. But if you have any questions on the program, I'd be happy to answer, go more in detail on the specific elements.
Is she, I see her on, is she able to?
We see her, the audio got coming in, but the audio is not calling. So it might be something on our system. It looks like her microphone appears to be working, but in our system it is not coming through for whatever reason. So I'm sure Elizabeth is wanted to go much better in deep on the process, but I can give you that right now.
Oh, well, I think you did a good job of giving us a summary, of all the elements that are included in that,
Mhm.
in that plan. So, colleagues, does anybody have questions for Mr. Campos? No? None?
None for me.
So on that, Mr. Campos, then we're going to vote on it? May I get a motion seconded? So that was moved by Councilmember Martha Cardenas Singh, seconded by Councilmember Sonia Carter. And already, so that resolution passes 5-0. Resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro adopting the updated sanitary sewer system management plan, in other words, SSMP. Alrighty. Okay, Mr.
All right.
Campos.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
And good luck.
All right. On to item number 10, discussion and necessary action related to proposals received for community development block grant, CDBG program year 24-25. Mrs. Adriana Nava, our Community Services Director.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. So this is a culmination of various meetings that we've had. So today before you, we'll just have a little bit of a background as to how much funding is available, the list of applications that were submitted to us during the opening period that we had. So right now, you may recall, just for context, that of the funds that we receive, a portion of it is capped for public services, and then another portion is for program administration. So 20% is currently for program administration and 15% for public services. And those in the past have gone to charitable organizations such as Catholic Charities, Social Helpline, et cetera. Okay, so our estimated, and I capitalize on estimated because we don't actually know how much we're going to receive, we are anticipating we use the last year's figures. So we have 563,406. And then in addition to that, we are anticipating 20,000 in program income. And so that gives us an amount of 583,406 to work with. So of the project proposals that we received some from Catholic Charities, and two of them are under this organization. One is for their senior nutrition program, which we have previously funded. Another one is for the Homeless Day Center. And then we also received one from Shell Helpline again in the amount of 42,600. We also received a funding request from PAL, which we've also funded in the past. And then the last one is for fair housing, and you may recall that this is one of the required activities. So the total amount requested for public services is 139,850. In addition to that, there was a request, and this is an internal one. It's the 20% program admin in the amount of 116,681. In addition to that, we have some funding for code enforcement. The request was 82,500. In addition to that, we always include the housing activity. So it includes lead-based paint, asbestos removal, and sidewalks in front of the property. Okay, so the amount for that is 25,000. In addition to that, there are two options for council. Based on our discussion of priorities in previous meetings, one of the priorities that was discussed was sidewalks. So we have included in here, based on the previous council meetings, prioritizing sidewalks. So the amount for that is 271,715. The other option, it's this or that, we can't do both because there's just not enough funding, is a new playground at the community center where the splash pad used to be. Well, where the splash pad currently is. The splash pad, and I'll go into the next slide just to give you some ideas. Over the years, we've had a lot of issues with our splash pad just because of age, and also because splash pads are historically known to have issues. There's a lot of treatment that's needed, chemical usage, and also when we built ours and where splash pads are at now are like night and day. The technology has advanced a lot. And so yearly we have put funds into the splash pad, but every year there is a new issue. So the most recent one is from NOR Systems. It's who we use as our consultant, and they have told us that we need something that requires $40,000 and can assure us that it's going to work. And so for us, we keep on pouring money into a facility that a lot of times remains unoperational. So with that said, one of our plans for this is we have a program at the community center that's been successful. It's a 0 to 5 program, Stepping Stones. Many of you, I think, have visited Stepping Stones in the past. And so one of the ideas that we have is to do a 0 to 5 playground in that area. We would decommission the underground components and then just put surface for the 0 to 5 age group. And we were thinking we could include some of these components. So I'll go back. So you can see, so we have previously programmed sidewalks in the amount of 621,187. So if we decide to go with the sidewalk option, it gives us almost, almost $1 million to do a sidewalk project. If not, for now, we could wait on the playground and just let the facility there at the splash pad, continue the way it's been. It's fenced, so it's not posing a hazard. It just, will remain unused. So that's just something for council to think about. Any questions on that?
When the splash pad was being used, I mean, was it used by a lot of the small children, or was it?
The usage, and it's not really, the usage has been limited mainly because it's not always operational.
Oh.
So it's always kind of a guessing game. Hey, is it working? Is it not working? And so we do get calls from the community, but because it wasn't working a lot of the time, people, didn't count on it. And so it wasn't used a lot because, again, it wasn't always operational. So it's pretty much, it's been a lemon for us, splash pad. And it's one of those things that it's, I know we've rehabbed it at least 2 times before that. I know Abraham has been instrumental in that. And so now that we do have the aquatic center, we do have a facility there. And overall, just the maintenance, the chemical usage, the requirements that are consistently being increased by the public health department, because this does require a special permit. It outweighs the benefits that it's had. Any other questions on that? So as to the recommended activities, obviously council can elect otherwise into the amounts. They're just recommendations for council as we have gone through some of the math of the funding we have available and what we can recommend based on our caps for public services, taking into account required activities, and then other activities that the city has decided to carry forward in years past, such as code enforcement. So for promoting fair housing, that's a required activity. The amount is $47,250. Catholic Charities delivery to homebound seniors. The recommendation on this one in years past too has been that 80% of the allocation goes to the purchase of food. And so the recommended amount is $15,000 for that one. For the homeless day center, the request was $20,000. We're recommending $15,000. For Sure Helpline, the request was $42,600. We're recommending $10,260. For PAL, the request was $10,000, and we're recommending 0 for that one because they were just funded through Measure P as well in the amount of $15,000. That's our recommendation. Again, we can shuffle these and you can change them accordingly, but that's based on what we've seen in the past. And then for the capital improvement project, the amount would stay the same, $271,715. And then council can decide on which activity for that. And then for the other ones, it's lead-based paint, asbestos removal, and then sidewalk in support of a housing rehab. The total of that would be $25,000. Code enforcement, fully funding it, $82,500. And then program administration, in the amount of $116,681.
Colleagues, any questions?
No.
Any recommendations?
I'd like to say something. Colleagues, I think that historically, the senior nutrition program has been underfunded. And I know that the Homeless Day Center has historically received funding from other sources. I'd like to see the senior nutrition program funded fully. We've done that in the past, and I don't think we've ever had an issue with how they allocate their resources in terms of purchasing food and arranging delivery for the seniors. And it literally is a matter of how many meals are prepared. So I think that the $5,000 from the Homeless Day Center would be better served in the senior nutrition program, considering that the Homeless Day Center has other allocations. As far as the El Centro PAL program, I'd like to see it receive some funding. I know it did recently receive $15,000 from Measure P, but that went towards their soccer program, specifically for the soccer program. The El Centro PAL serves much more than just soccer. It's a physical location where kids go after school. They receive tutoring assistance. They do boxing, martial arts. They get golf instruction. There's several other programs. It's essentially become a community center for that part of the area in El Centro. And I'd like to give them as much assistance as possible, considering that is our police athletic league and it has been serving the community for many, many years. As far as Sure Helpline goes, I think that this body has previously requested an accounting of how they've spent their money, and we have never received it. There have been some unsettling things regarding how they spend their money, and I would not feel comfortable giving them funding until we at least know how our previous allocations were spent. Furthermore, the services that they state that they offer in terms of counseling, crisis intervention, and even legal services, I've never seen a dossier or resume as to who is providing these services and what qualifies them to do so. So that is another thing that concerns me. But those are just my opinions. I leave it to my colleagues if they have any other discussion.
You know, and piggybacking on that with the Sheriff Helpline, Mrs. Nava, can you go to the slide that shows all of the, their goals and their actual accomplishments?
Oh, yes, that's a different part. Yes, I believe we invited Sure Helpline. I'm not sure if there's anybody here from Sure Helpline. Maybe online, can we check? Because we did invite the applicants to attend this meeting because Sure Helpline was one of the ones who didn't submit.
Yeah, because their goals and accomplishments really stood out to me because they didn't do much in terms of, look at.
They didn't
actual-
provide us with.
Oh, they
with-
didn't provide you with
No, not in time.
documentation?
Not in time for this meeting. We did receive from some of them. I want to be fair in that senior nutrition didn't provide us, but I see them every day at the, well, not every day, but I see them at the adult center. So I know they provide the meals. Homeless Day Center either. El Centro Pal did provide us with the amount served. So I think echoing Mayor Pro Tem's point, they did provide us with figures.
And
that's
in the
what we-
past, going back to to that previous slide where it shows their account for the Sheriff Helpline.
I'll go back. There you go.
In 2022, 23, did they apply for funding? Let me see.
2022 did not apply.
Did not apply. So seems to me that they tried to make up for what they didn't apply for and then went big in 2023.
In 2021, they used all of their funds. In 2023, we had some issues when they were signing their agreement because you may recall there was a moment of instability for the organization. And because this is a federally funded program, we are very cautious about the capacity to deliver. And so there was a concern there. I know that staff is currently working with the Sure Helpline to ensure they expend the funds. It's not a ton of money, it's 5,344, so we think they will be able to expend it. But there was a delay due to the issues that were going on with the nonprofit.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question? Adriana, having worked with many programs, for me, of course, as an educator, there is accountability. There are milestones that need to be met anytime that we're looking at any type of grant funding that's being provided, whether that's through a state or through a county or a county office of education. And with any of these, I'm not looking at any in particular, do we have milestones to ensure that those deliverables are being accounted for?
They do provide us with the expenditures that are part of their grant application. Now, in terms of the deliverable, in terms of like number of participants, do we go back and say, hey, you don't get the funding because you said you were helping 100 people and you only helped 50? No.
Okay.
And because we are establishing those as goals, and so some of the nonprofits don't always meet the goal, and sometimes it's outside of their control. We saw this during COVID, circumstances changed, and so some of them pivoted, but others did not meet the metrics. A lot of it is also based on when we issue the grants. So we get the funding from HUD, and then there's time in between. And so sometimes it's not just them, it's us and giving them the grant agreement, the amount of time they have to expend for those funds. So Sure Helpline is one of them for this one because there was some issues with the board and the instability by the time the grant agreement was fully executed, and we were able to work with them on what they could use the funds on because they requested 51,600 and we were only able to provide 5,344. So we had to kind of whittle down what is it that you can actually use these funds on based on the amount that we allocated.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there was an equitable process in regards to accountability for the funding that has been allocated.
Yeah, and
to
it
these
is fully
nonprofits.
transparent. I would say especially with HUD, the accounting is very
Right,
careful.
right.
And that's why sometimes they'll submit something and we can't reimburse them for it because it doesn't fall under our guidelines. Food would be an example of that. There are other items as well that we can't fund based on the restrictions from the grant. It's not easy, I will say.
No, I
Stacy.
can imagine.
And then I
Yeah.
also think $5,000, and not to minimize the amount, but the deliverables for $5,000.
How much could you
how
actually
much,
do?
Right, as far
Yes.
as the grasp or the reach, and what has been identified as what that deliverable is going to be. So I'm just taking a look at all of
Yeah.
the programs.
Any other questions or comments, colleagues?
I just wanted to ask a quick recap as to what Mr. Garcia was allocating and laying out, just so that because I know what staff presented, and I just kind of wanted to summarize.
Well,
if you could.
what I would propose, colleagues, for consideration would be that we fully fund the senior nutrition program and reallocate 5,000 from the homeless day center to that. So that would be that. And
So we could do it in real time just for the sake of clarity. So 20,000 for the senior nutrition program. And then it would be for the homeless day center, 10,000.
10,000.
And then Sure Helpline 0 is the recommendation.
I'm uncomfortable giving them anything until we have any sort of accounting. I mean, we've requested it. This is not the first time.
So then we could do 0 and then put that funding towards PAL, 10,260.
I would like that. I'd like that at least to be considered. Maybe if my colleagues would propose moving some of that to the homeless day center, I'm not sure. But I think that seeing how they laid out their requests, in terms of utilities, insurance, equipment, and supplies, you're seeing where that money is going, and it's essentially going to keep PAL open and will make a significant difference in the lives of many children in our most impoverished neighborhood. A lot of these kids don't have anywhere to go after school, and they go to PAL.
And it's full.
That's what PAL's been doing for a long time. And it's always full.
It's always full. It's always full. It's a lot of kids, and they do a lot of activities with those kids.
I will share with you, again, when I take a look at providing crisis intervention, counseling, legal advocacy for domestic violence victims and their children, knowing that the Women's Hope Shelter has closed, then it really weighs heavy on other programs to be able to provide those services. So I'm looking at the deliverables in regards to making sure that victims of domestic violence are receiving the service. And I think that that's where I'm torn, and I agree. I think investing in our youth is important, but I also think of families who are going through domestic violence.
I would
I
add to
firmly
that.
believe the same thing regarding domestic violence victims and their children. And I think that other organizations, specifically Women Haven, has done a very good job. And when they present information as to how many people they've helped, they're very transparent.
And they used to
My
be an
issue
applicant as well.
is with Sure Helpline, is that we have previously requested where the money is going, and we have never actually received it. They haven't come to present to us. And specifically, if you look at the slide, 2021, they were allocated $7,000, and they say they helped 11 people. So I'd like to know how they were helped, in what capacity, and who is providing these services, these counseling services, legal advocacy services. These are professional services. My understanding is that they don't have a professional with that capacity there. So who are they paying to do that? That's my concern.
So if they present us with the documentations, will we have pending money to support them, or it would just be?
Definitely change my opinion.
So we just need to reach out to them again?
Yeah, we can move this item.
We don't have time.
We can do a special meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
we
special
can do
meeting, or
the
if I
meeting.
could, this meeting is just for you guys to make your preliminary, your decision. But the annual action plan and consolidated plan will be coming back to you in a draft form, and that is a public hearing. All of the applicants were invited, and they might be online tonight, but they will also be invited to that public hearing. And that is when the final draft is approved and changes can be made that night. So if between now and then, we can get you the information, you want to change your allocation, it's certainly something we can still change.
So Miss Adriana, just so that I feel that we're being equitable in this process, which programs have not turned in
Oh,
the
going
data
back.
that's being requested?
I was gonna say, just so you know, that we're only, because the allocations went out in August and they started about September, we're only a few months into this, so we still have 3 or 4 more months of reporting to go. They haven't finished their year, so some of them they will spend the money towards the end of the year. Some of them, they haven't provided us their counts yet, but it's not that they're not delivering, it's just that is to date. And so far to date, we may not have, you're not gonna see the full years.
I think if you look at 21, 22, it definitely sets the benchmark of what you are expected to see. We haven't seen in the past where the outcome is very different from year to year. And so to clarify, but we can definitely give them that opportunity. We can schedule, I don't suggest waiting until we submit the annual action plan, only because it really puts us in a time crunch and in a bind. I would much rather either making the decision today or continuing it for a special meeting, just because that way it gives us enough time to prepare.
So just for clarity then, what other programs have not submitted their reporting?
So right now, and again, we haven't finished the year.
Right.
The other ones that we haven't received it for are senior nutrition. And again, we know they are delivering,
Right.
but it doesn't mean they just haven't submitted it to us. The Homeless Day Center, El Centro Pal has, and that's it. The rest are city related programs.
Is the frequency of the reporting annual or semi-annual or?
I think we started doing this recently. I would say
Try to
maybe.
do it monthly, but sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Because there's different agencies.
And also with Sure Helpline, it did take us a while to execute the agreement because of the instability of the board. Remember, there were those issues. And so
yes.
it did take a while. And so again, they don't have much to report. We just finally signed. They're ready to go. The amount they requested, the amount they actually received. And so there are definitely points that they could say. And so I think it's a fair opportunity. Again, we did invite them today. They're not here. If we'd like to invite them again, we can.
Yes.
Adriana, you mentioned that PAL was awarded some funding through Measure P, right? And my question is there a distinction between how and what the purpose of the funding was for Measure P versus this money that they would potentially get?
Well, we just recently, and I don't know if our city manager wants to explain on that, but that was an allocation that council had made at the suggestion of Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. We had met with the leagues recently. The amount was $15,000. I know that we have already sent them a letter, but there weren't many strings attached to that funding. And so I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, city manager.
So not a whole lot. However, we did identify some reporting timelines for them. We also sat down and basically identified what the primary goal would be for the funding, primarily to defer the cost of paying for participation in sports, or for the cost of uniforms and other associated costs like insurance and things like that, before the league would actually go ahead and spend the dollars on equipment that could be useful as well. So we had a meeting with them. They're supposed to get back with us as far as the application was concerned. I think we're processing those applications now, waiting for some to come in. And they all walked away with a good sense of what they had to do, and we provided feedback, as well as also shared that if they needed any technical assistance, we'd be able to provide it, but they would have to provide feedback to the city in a report as to what the dollars that they used were used for.
And they did include other sports. I believe they discussed boxing, I think was a one that they mentioned to us. They didn't explain that their funds would be exclusive to soccer. They did say that they have other sports. think boxing was one that they said was growing. And so in that limitation, we didn't say strictly soccer. It was, whatever Powell needed. Because there were things in there that we know are overhead costs that sometimes funding sources, maybe like CDBG won't cover, but Measure P could. And that amount was 15,000.
Each, yeah.
So may I ask also, so just looking at this, that we can kind of check the box and move forward on what we can all agree on, which is, okay, 20,000 for the senior nutrition program. I think, just looking around my colleagues, that seems to be good. 10 for the homeless day center. And what I'm getting at is the 10,260 is what's floating and what we're just kind of not sure about, whether it should go to PAL or go to Sure Helpline. So my question now to staff is, what are our options? And, special meetings, that kind of stuff, like I get it, but what could we do now? For example, if we were to allocate some of that to the Sure Helpline with the contingency of the funding would only be released if they provided the resources, let's say they don't. What would our options be later on in revisiting this to be able to reallocate any monies at a future date?
I would say number one, I don't suggest it.
Okay.
The paperwork is extremely cumbersome.
Okay.
So I wouldn't suggest funding both entities just because of the amount of staff time it takes to review all of the expenditures they submit against the guidelines, ensure it's an eligible activity, submit for reimbursement. So I would definitely just select one. That's one. I don't suggest going back and changing it. Again, we submit all of this to HUD. And so that's my recommendation to you, is select one of the activities, up to the council to decide. And you're right, if you don't want to have a special meeting, I understand, but also know that we invited everybody who submitted. And also, when I apply for grants as on representing the city, if I know there's going to be a meeting where we're going to be discussing the money, I show up because I know we've done it for the county, the public benefit fund. If we're applying, we're going to be there. So I also think it shows on their end the amount, how much do you want it? So, up to the council to decide, but I definitely, suggest that you select one or the other.
Do we have any representatives from the other organizations here?
Can we try Zoom? See?
Do we have anybody online on Zoom?
Raising a hand. We do. Okay, perfect. Oh, there's Danny.
This is who, Danny?
Danny's
is-
from Catholic Church.
Whoa.
Hi, good evening. I apologize that I'm not there in person. I'm just getting over bronchitis. So I definitely apologize. I'm in San Diego, but I'm here if you have any questions. I can help regarding the senior nutrition program or the homeless day center.
Anybody here from anybody else?
Oh, all right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Efren Tannery. I'm a board member with El Centro PAL. I can answer some questions to the best of my ability. But here, El Centro PAL is an established organization that has been present in the community for many years. We have boxing, soccer program. We were about to start soccer, but the Swarthought Park is under renovation right now. We are also affiliated with AYSO, so helping us as well, recruiting for schools. We no longer have a karate program, we have a wrestling program. And they've been pretty active, and they've been traveling and getting championships and stuff. Excuse me, I'm not prepared for,
No,
for
that's
speaking
okay.
tonight, but
That's okay. You're doing fine.
we every year we do, our budget is open for viewing. Anything that is asked of us, we provide. And do you have any questions for me?
Mr. Turner, on average, how many kids do you have at your facility?
At our facility,
on
we
a
could have,
daily,
I'm sorry,
on a daily basis? Yeah.
60 to 75 kids.
Wow.
We have the wrestling program has got about 45 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I just
a
passed
lot.
by right now
Nice.
and the parking lot is full.
Wow.
We have kids boxing, wrestling.
Mhm.
They are going out and competing. And so when we sponsor, that takes money as well. And we're replacing equipment that's old. And during COVID, of course, it sat stagnant there. So during that time, some of the equipment has been shot, and we need to purchase equipment also for the upcoming soccer season.
Mm-hmm.
And this money would help greatly because it would offset the cost. Would be no charge to the children, and that's pretty much what the city wants for this money, that the kids benefit from it, especially underprivileged children, and that's our target. So that's what we have here, madam.
Well, thank you.
And
Any other, I know that Danny was still, on the line, but I don't think we have any questions in regards to Catholic Charities. I think they've been consistent, throughout their history here in the Valley. So,
No, they've been excellent with us.
Yes.
Makes sense why she hasn't answered my calls.
yeah.
Because I've been trying to call her
Yes.
for the other program that we've been working on. And so I think overall, hopefully this helps you make your decision. I know that Stacy was revising the Excel sheet in real
Mhm.
time. So we're here and ready for any changes you'd like to make. Or if you want to take a little bit more time, we would have to do it, within the next few days to revise and
Mhm.
select.
Colleagues, any further comments or input in regards to the modifications that we proposed?
Well, we have 3 of the 4 people here. I think that speaks a lot.
But the same as when we have nonprofit organizations that come in and ask for a sponsorship as well. To me, it's not about the entity. To me, it continues to be about services that are being provided to victims and children of domestic violence.
Oh, Danny, did you want to speak?
Oh, yes, I just wanted to clarify the amount of food the amount of meals our senior nutrition program is delivering on a monthly basis. Our home delivered program delivers around 3,600 meals a month. That's delivered to homes all over Imperial County. And then our congregate sites, it's about 1,500 meals. So that's 4,600 meals provided to vulnerable seniors every month. And we're looking to expand that program. And the city of El Centro has been very helpful every year supporting us with food costs, which we really appreciate, the continual support. And then when we opened the Homeless Day Center, the first one in Imperial County, we've been very excited to see how the word has spread about all the homeless that we are helping. With all the resources there and partnering with other organizations to make sure we can help these people who are unhoused with the best opportunities to get jobs, to help get their documents, get medical attention, things that they need so they can work on becoming self-sufficient again. Thank you.
Thank you. You did great work to fill in the gap and ensuring that our vulnerable seniors are provided with a hot meal. Many of them, because of a disability or their health, aren't able to provide those meals for themselves or grocery shop. It's an amazing program.
Would that they're very tasty too. Our seniors love them.
Yeah, I've tasted their food. Not bad. So, Okay, so going back to this, no, go
My
ahead.
question is, could we divide and conquer? Could
I
we
w-
divide the money between Sure Helpline and PAL?
How funny we were on the same
Great minds think
wavelength,
alike,
you
huh,
know,
Mayor?
so, because I was thinking that maybe we take that amount and divide it between the
Okay.
two.
And then I wanted to ask Adriana about the splash pad. Over there in the area, are you talking about the sidewalks? Which in the area are they've been safety issues with the sidewalks?
No, the sidewalks would be throughout the target, the CDBG target area. We haven't identified specifically where, but within the target area. I know
okay.
Abraham's already working on a design based on the other 600,000 that were received. So we don't have a specific location,
Okay.
but we can work on that.
Because I do agree with you that splash pad has been a lemon. I mean, that's just it hasn't worked more than it,
In a while.
Yes, so I think our sidewalks are important, but that's up to my colleagues.
So,
So, Madam Mayor, just for
Yes.
clarity, and I am just double checking here, even though we're looking at a reduction of 5,130 is the reduction for the El Centro PAL. El Centro PAL this year did receive a 15,000 Measure P funding, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so we're just making sure for
Yes.
clarity. I just, being responsible, the fiduciary responsibility that any entity has, again, speaking from making sure that we're meeting those milestones and what's being required, accountability is huge. And so if we wait until the end for the accountability to take place at the end of the fiscal year, there is no room to provide any intervention or any type of report that lets us know who's on track or not. And so I think that for me, just internally, I would like to see some type of safeguard that takes place.
So it's tough for us. So I will say in years past, we have received sometimes our funding September, October. Then we have the agreement. We get the information, we send it to legal reviews, it comes back. So if you think about just in the amount of time we receive the money, it's, let's say, in the bank, right? And then we have to go forward with the agreement. We are just in March now. So it doesn't give a lot of time also to expend the funds based on when we receive the funding from HUD. So it's not just them not providing, it's also how long it takes us as an entity to give them the agreement based on different factors.
And I know HUD has very strict guidelines in regards to how it can be spent. And so I want to just make sure that we're audit compliant.
Oh, yeah, that
Right.
part. This is why I'm not a huge proponent of adding more grantees because of how careful we are with those funds.
in past years, Adriana, have we had any problems with Sure Helplines reporting?
We've
with,
only funded
coming
them
through?
maybe 2 other times, so we haven't funded them that many years. We used to fund Woman Haven was the one that we had. Sure Helpline, I mean, they've submitted the information, but they've never been one of our larger grantees. They've always been one of the smaller ones. Did you want to add
Yeah,
anything?
just that, for instance, the year before last, the way that they present their vouchers, we do have to go through with them and really work on them and verify who they're paying. We get copies of checks, copies of payroll. And in this one, Susanna has been working diligently with them, trying to whittle down what in their budget we're telling them we will not pay for. So remove it from your budget. We're not going to pay for it. So they've kind of gotten it down to where we know that their expenditures are eligible expenditures. And we're now working with them to ensure that the paperwork that they submit to us explains how everything is submitted.
And what percentage, as approximately, of the funding are eligible expenditures? Do you have any idea?
Well, before their original budget was like 83,000. We wound up giving them 5,000. And so for starters, we had to whittle away. But the one that we have now, for instance, they were wanting to provide food to some of their clients. We can't have them provide food. They were wanting to provide for victims of domestic violence, wanting to provide like a Target gift card to go buy clothes or whatever. Well, we have no control over what happens to the card after it's actually being used. So we have started eliminating those items. And right now we're trying to identify if the services they provide, if it's being provided by employees or if they're hiring a contract consultant or so forth, because we do also have to work with a 20% cap on personnel expenditures. So we're adjusting their budget to make sure they meet that 20% cap. They stay under 20% of expenditures on personnel and make sure all the budget items are eligible, and that we have, before we let them spend it, we're making sure we have a way to verify how that money is spent and that it's going towards the client.
I think the other item here, and as far as the identification, all other nonprofit organizations are very clear about the category in which, and I think that's where it doesn't tell me 2,000 is going to be used on crisis intervention or 2,000 is going to be used on legal advocacy for domestic violence victims and their children. So and I know the amount is $5,000, but it doesn't give me the category to at least know where those deliverables are going to be provided.
Generally, whenever council approves about the budget amount generally when council approves a budget amount that is less than what they submitted, they'll work with staff and we reduce the budget and their line items to ensure that the city gets, for lack of a better term, the biggest bang for their buck. We want to make sure that it's going towards eligible activities and something that is helping keep this program running, and we're using it for all eligible activities.
Counseling services are very,
yeah.
counseling services are very expensive. I mean, they can range up to $120 an hour. When you think about 5,000, that doesn't provide a lot of counseling services, not to minimize the value or the worth of what they provide, but I would just kind of like to have a better understanding that maybe most of the money would be used for crisis intervention. And that's the unknown, right? The unknown is how these $5,000 would be used.
Yeah, and I think we can work on it internally with staff based on the funding they requested. The amount was, I believe, 42,600 was their request. So obviously we would reduce it accordingly to what was eligible. And it's pretty much the same as what is eligible for the previous year that they received. They received about $5,000 last year as well. Yes,
Perhaps a suggestion. If you need some clarification, could you take the portion, if any, that you determined to allocate to Sure Helpline and only that portion and put it aside briefly for now?
No, I would think it would be difficult.
Well, you're not at the annual action plan.
No, not yet. No.
It would only be this one because of the uncertainty here and some of the comments that have been made.
I think the time bind is difficult. I mean, we could also do it if you would like to continue this meeting as well. I mean, this item for another meeting.
I don't, colleagues, I apologize. I'm not certain I understand the heartburn so far in terms of the way that it's laid out right now. Is there anyone that just feels very adamantly against this the way it is? Because I feel like we're talking about it, but yet it's like the chips have kind of fallen where they're at, and I don't see anyone really expressing that they don't like the way it's laid out. So I'm just wondering
and based on past history, I'm comfortable with that allocation for sure.
Okay.
Helpline.
I'm still uncomfortable because of the fact that we've never received an accounting and we've asked for it in the past.
Have we received accounting?
Do we have any prior reports? Do you want to take a look at them?
Just so you know, they won't be loaded up in the system. Every time that they submit a pay app with us. They provide everything that it was expended on. If I could make a suggestion, one of the things you may want to do is if you would like to allocate it this way, and before our next meeting where the draft plan is presented to you, we can contact Sure Helpline, get the accounting and the breakdown of everything of the last grant they received and this one of how they anticipate spending it, and we'll present it to you at that public hearing. And if you're not comfortable with it at that time, you can move all that money over to PAL.
I think that, yeah, I think that would make us more comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
When is that hearing, Stacy?
We're scheduled to bring the draft annual action plan back to you the second meeting of April, which is, I believe, April 16th.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Alright, so, Madam Mayor, is there a way that I can ask the clerk to initiate what we need to do in order to get that
We
going?
need a decision on that.
So what are we deciding on right now? We're allocating it like this?
Like that until, but directing staff to request the financials, and at the second meeting in April, we're going to have a public
Yes.
hearing. And if we don't receive, then some of us could then express
address
to
it
move
then.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So on the infrastructure project, are we gonna go with the sidewalk or with the 0 to 5 playground? That was the other option. I'm sorry, today
I
was
think-
loaded with options, but
Well, I personally would prefer that we allocate it to sidewalks.
okay.
Okay.
So then we can do that,
So
the
this motion would
271.
include the breakdown of what we talked about for PAL, Shore Helpline, and the option of sidewalks.
Yes, yes. That's why
I'm
we
just
wanted to write it
clarifying for
in.
the record that that was what I moved since I was the one who initiated the motion.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
I'm just making it clear for the record because I made the motion, and just to reflect that the motion was to include those details.
Okay,
And just to clarify, then we will ask to have a report of
yes.
the deliverables for all entities of where they are to date, correct?
Okay, and this will be available for the hearing, okay? Will be included in your packet. Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
So that passes 5-0. So we'll move on to item number 11, letter of support requested by SCAG for regional early action planning. Presentation by our city manager, Mr. Cedric Cesenia.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. So the item before you comes for your discussion as well as approval of a letter of support that was requested by SCAG, the Southern California Association of Governments. This particular request for a letter comes associated from the program known as the Regional Early Action Planning Grant program, also known as REAP. This is in particular for REAP 2.0, which is program builds on REAP 1.0, which was a 2019 program. And the goal of the program was to focus on integrating housing and climate goals, as well as allowing for a broader planning and implementation and investments that support infill development to facilitate housing supply, choice, and affordability. For discussion, the governor's budget that has been proposed is cutting $1.2 billion in funding for housing programs, which includes $300 million for the REAP 2.0 program. So SCAG is looking for support to oppose that cut that would then obviously cut deeply, not to be redundant, on some of the activities related to the financing, land use, and transportation strategies also. So at this point, the cutting in funding to the REAP program threatens the ability for SCAG, cities, counties, tribal governments to address the housing crisis, and thereby it's important in order to keep the climate goals of the state in mind. So before you is the letter of support that staff has prepared, and we're requesting direction on providing this letter of support to SCAG and having the mayor sign the letter on behalf of the city.
So that item was moved by Councilmember Oliva, seconded by Mayor Marroquin, and that has been adopted 5-0. Now we move on to item number 12. So we will now recess the city council meeting and adjourn to the successor agency of the redevelopment agency. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, we have a missing council member here.
Stepped out, yes.
Okay, should we wait?
It's up to you, Mayor. Yes, we can wait.
I apologize for that. I was trying to figure out what the noise was coming over there.
Yeah, I know.
think we're
I could
holding.
hear it.
We're waiting for Councilmember.
So we're just
Oliva.
waiting for Councilmember Oliva, and then we'll call the roll, and then we'll have. I didn't make the hour mark. I know you're probably anxious to get out of here, but we're almost done. Should I repeat, or do we?
I can go ahead and call
Okay,
roll.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Cardenas Singh,
Present.
Member Carter,
Present.
Member Oliva,
Present.
Co-Chairman Garcia,
Present.
Chairman Marroquin.
Present. Okay, so this item number 12 is discussion and any necessary action regarding the granting of an easement to the Imperial Irrigation District for the Jacaranda Apartment Project. Presentation now by Mr. Abraham Campos, our Public Work Director, City Engineer.
All right, good evening again. This is a very simple item for us. It's a matter of formality for an easement that's required for ID for the Jacaranda Garden Apartments. This is the multifamily complex being built and in front of the First Responders Park. Very excited about this project. They do need power as part of, they're gonna need there's gonna need be a lot of lights over there. So in order to service them, the ID requires an easement. This easement, what it does, it connects the street or the wiring from ID and their grid at the street and go their property to wherever the meter is located. That's where this easement is. If you have any questions on the easement or additional questions on the need for an easement on this for Jacaranda Gardens, I'm help to assist. Glad to assist.
Okay, so that item was moved by Councilmember Oliva, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Have all voted. And that,
If I could really quick, if you grace me with a little bit of time, in the commotion on the last item, I forgot to mention and thank the great dedication of our staff. This is on the sanitary sewer management plan. There was a big team effort. We had David Gracia, our wastewater treatment supervisor, Sarate, helping the process, Marco Conchol and Rocano, who spent months developing that plan. So I really want to express my thank you to them, as they were very instrumental in getting this plan adopted. So then thank you for adopting that plan as well.
thank you, Mr. Campos. Okay, so now may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the successor agency meeting and reconvene to the city council meeting?
So moves.
Well, I guess that was voice vote was all yeses. Okay, all righty. Okey doke. Okay, now we move on to informational items and our task force reports. So can I start with Councilmember Cardenas Singh?
Yes, wow, it's been a busy 2 weeks. Just to share with you quickly, just to update you all, we had our Imperial County Transportation Commission meeting. The final audit was completed for our local transportation authority for 2022, 2023. There was no major audit findings. In addition to that, we went ahead and, as an ICTC, we went ahead and approved the 2023 Long Range Transportation Plan, which many of our staff were part of the subcommittees and were part of the planning process. I have the copy. I'm going to ask our city clerk, please, if we can go ahead and have a copy so that everyone can see what the long-term transportation plan looks like. We had Community Helpers Week and had the opportunity to present at First Christian Childcare. We had our K-9 unit out there, and it was great. Extra credit points for Officer Bernal, who had to be the bad guy with the K-9 and showed the students what it was like and how hard our K-9 dog works in making sure that he gets the bad guy. In addition to that, just had the opportunity, I received a phone call from a coordinator of the Day Out program here in El Centro on Main Street, and was really impressed with the wraparound services that are being provided to senior individuals. It was very comprehensive, from providing medication, physical therapy, the ability to make sure that meals are being provided. So in essence, it's an all-inclusive program that allows individuals that are seniors and maybe their son or daughter are not comfortable leaving them home alone. And so it provides a safe place. Transportation is provided, food is provided, every type of service manageable is provided. And I had the opportunity to visit the facility. The other item too was at Southwest High School, was part of the Career Technical Education Roundtable, which highlighted many of the career technical degrees or certificates that are provided to high school students who already walk out, from their day of graduation already having a certificate in career technical, which is amazing. Talk about setting up a student for success. The Mardi Gras parade and street fair, amazing. It was fun. I loved the location, loved where the band area was set up. It was great, wonderful. And we loved our float, Mr. Abraham. Good job to the staff. And Read Across America has been all week, and many of us have had the opportunity to read to elementary school students. And then, of course, the swearing-in ceremony for the new captain for the California Highway Patrol here for the El Centro area, and our hospital board meeting. That's my report, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Oliva?
Yes, Madam Mayor and colleagues, since we last met, we had a public safety task force meeting, and staff presented a plan to change policy to expand the Narcan Leave Behind program, which is something that the city of El Centro is spearheading. And so more to come before this body when that gets out. I was able to speak to ECRMC volunteers that gathered, and I thought it was great. It was a room full of people where we normally meet for our ECRMC board meeting. It was a room full of young individuals that give their time to the hospital and to our patients. And so we wanted to make sure that we were there to give our gratitude. As mentioned, Read Across America was honored and fortunate to be invited to the Harding Elementary School to read, as well as the Heber Junior High School. And the last thing that I'll mention is just to say a special thank you to all the staff that have volunteered to operate the booth at the county fair and that continue to do so. So thank you for that. And with that, I yield back.
Councilmember Carter?
Thank you. I had the honor of ending February, which was Black History Month, with two Black History Month programs. One was at IVC and the other one Black Lives Matters put on. Both of them are phenomenal, well attended. And next year they said they're just looking for growth. And I do believe that a lot of people will come out. But they were very nice programs. And I also attended the Mardi Gras parades, and that was nice. Thank you, Abraham, and the team, because yes, the float was amazing. Yes, and I also had the honor of being the judge for the regional speech and debate tournament. Wow, future council members. There was a question that was asked about city council, and it was a blind question. So they had no clue what was going to be asked. And they came and they stood 10 toes down and they were like on it. I would change this, I would change this, and I would go and ask about this. And I mean, they just knew about the city and the economic environments that they wanted to point out. And I'm very proud of our youth, very, very proud of our youth. And I also attended the hospital board meeting and the swearing in of the captain. That was a nice event as well. And that concludes my events.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Keep it very brief. I attended several meetings, the hospital board meeting, of course, and the swearing in of our new CHP captain here in El Centro. That was a great event as well. I'd like to thank the staff just for all of their hard work in making sure that we had another successful community event. I received so much positive feedback from Mardi Gras. Everybody had a great time. They loved where it was staged. They were very comfortable there with their children. It was a true El Centro family event, and it was just a great time. With that, I'll end.
Okie doke. And so let's see, because we were all at the same events, I won't repeat, that, but I do have to say, for our community services director and all the Parks and Recreation staff and our Public Works Department, a huge thank you for the hard work that they put into setting up for the Mardi Gras parade and street fair, because, that takes a lot of teamwork. And I have to say that was, that's always such a fun event. But the floats, I mean, my gosh, I think I think you guys outdo each other every year. I think it's become a competition to see who can come up with the most elaborate float. But it's always been such a nice event, and it's really grown throughout the years, because I can remember when it first started, and so we look forward to that every year, and hopefully we'll have more entries, next time. But I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all of everybody that was involved in the planning and the execution of that very popular event. So let's see. Also attended our, as you know, we're all trustees with the hospital board, but we also had our finance committee meeting and our hospital board meeting. And I do have to say that, the numbers are looking so much better each month. And so we've really turned the ship around. And so we continue to work at it. And so, that, as you know, we had all been under a lot of stress during, the last year and a half to 2 years. And so, that is a huge weight that's not completely lifted off our shoulders, but we're getting there. I too was honored to participate in Read Across America. I was asked to read at 3rd grade and 5th grade classes at St. Mary's School. And this coming Thursday, I will be reading at a 3rd grade class at Washington Elementary School. So I'll be out there. And let's see. And then we continue our Mondays with the mayor. So I will be at the Joy Juice and Deli from 8 to 9 a.m. That is located at 675 Main Street in downtown El Centro. And I invite the community to come out and discuss any topic related to our city or make suggestions. So again, that's next Monday, March the 11th, from 8 to 9 a.m. at Joy Juice and Deli in downtown. And tomorrow evening, we have Dr. Sue's family night at the library. And so that is something that I'm looking forward to, where there's going to be a lot of crafts, a lot of activities, music for the kids. I'm sure they're also going to have snacks, refreshments. So we invite the community to come out for that, and that's from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Central Library. And then this Friday, we are having a check presentation with the Assembly member Eduardo Garcia for our Buena Vista Park project at 11 o'clock. The event will be held at the corner of South 8th Street and Manuel Ortiz Avenue. So looking forward to that because it will really help us complete that project. And so with that, I turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Cedric Cesenia.
I'll try to do this in under a minute. Attended the 2024 State of the District address at Central. So impressed that I will tell you that a preview that the Cesenia family will soon have a Spartan in the family.
Wow.
Aside from that, we attended the Energy and Environmental Justice Conference at San Diego State University. There was a lot of good information. And the city family grew by one today. We added and swore in a certified water distribution operator. So, we're very happy of that. Outside of that, that's all I have.
Oh,
Wow.
boy, I think that was just 30 seconds. It wasn't even a minute. All righty. It is now 7:51 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.